Just summary for emails.
Yeah.
What we can have to know actually from Rishon Gimel? What's the halach of the nice?
So we're going to be learning Reish Mandala today, the laws of Kablanus, pretty much. But we're not going to finish Reish Gimel inside because it's a big Siman, and we're just not going to finish inside. But the bottom line is, what you have to know is that Schirus is mutter on Shabbos. You're allowed to rent out properties and businesses to Goyim on Shabbos. I mean, on Shabbos, from before Shabbos, and the Goyim operated. As long as there is no Maris Ayin. The Maris Ayin is if it's a sort of thing that is normally operated by a person who works for the owner, as opposed to a person who rents it from the owner. So then there's a problem with Maris Ayin, and then you would not be allowed to even rent it to him. Unless, like we said, unless it became public knowledge already that he's renting and he's not a worker of yours, then there would be room for leniency.
So if a guy lived for many years in this community and now he moved out and he's renting his house very good.
A house is not a business. The whole thing is a business. A house is a house. Whatever the guy does in his house, everybody knows he's doing for himself. You let him rent out. The truth is that even when it comes to renting out houses, you could ask, why is it not Schar Shabbos? He's paying you for Shabbos. And the answer is simple. He pays you every month. It's Havlah. It's mixed in.
So can you do an Airbnb?
So the heter for an Airbnb, or for that matter, whenever you rent something out, including Shabbos, even if you do it by day, like every day is separate charge, the heter is that in the society we live in, days go usually by 12 a.m. to 11:59 p.m. Or maybe in hotels they go from, I don't know, check in to check out, but they don't start with Shkia and end with Seis. You know what I'm saying? So let's say you're renting it out for a week. So even if it's based on a 7-day concept, but the day of Saturday, let's say, starts Saturday morning and ends Saturday night. So he's not paying you for Shabbos separately. He's paying you for Friday together with the Friday night, and for Shabbos together with Motzei Shabbos. You understand? So there's always a component of Havlah. There's always a component of mixing in. Even in Israel, where they will sometimes do a rental for Shabbos only, like a hotel that has these deals. You come for Shabbos only. You don't come Friday afternoon. You don't check out Motzei Shabbos. B'chol zot, you can come an hour before Shabbos. You don't check in a minute before Shabbos. Check in an hour before Shabbos at least to set yourself up or whatever. So you're paying for Shabbos together with that hour. So there's always a little component of Havlah, of mixing in.
It's like a buffer.
Yeah, that's correct.
On both ends, or as long as it's on either end?
Either end. As long as you're not paying for Shabbos
So
separately.
that doesn't have to have a certain amount, maybe even a little bit.
Yes, correct.
Cover up on the rest.
Yeah, it's not that it's covering up. It means that it's not Schar Shabbos exclusively.
So is it my understanding that so long as the community has noticed that this is happening, then it should be okay?
You're going back to business. Of telling individual people is going to help, because who says everybody's going to find out? It has to be that either it has been going on for long enough so that everybody knows, it's public knowledge.
Well, what defines public knowledge? That's what I'm saying.
So I'm just saying, for example, in the case of a property, a kind of business that is usually run by workers, but now you've rented it out, it says after 2 years of it being rented out to the goy, then you can start renting it out for Shabbos too, because only then will everybody know. You understand? Along comes Rav Vosner and says, you know what, putting an ad in the paper is as good and even better than 2 years. Okay, but that's an ad in the paper, but that's not just word of mouth. You know, that has to be, WhatsApp is only to your group. I'm saying, how do you know it's going to,
community group?
it has to reach the wider community. Exactly.
I'm saying nowadays, from a practical standpoint, that's a lot quicker.
Yeah, it is.
With the technology.
It is.
That we have.
It is quicker.
But that's Rav Vosner's point. So
Yes.
you can
Is this a thing from
that waiting period by
Exactly.
getting
By
by
publicizing.
disseminating the
Correct.
public knowledge.
Correct. But again, this is only in a situation where it's a type of business that is normally run by workers and not rented out. That's why you need this. I don't know how many businesses there are like that nowadays. I mean,
Mostly there were like mills and all kinds of stuff.
right. There were certain things that the profit margin was so slim that people didn't rent it out because they would barely make any money after they paid rent. So the owners would just keep them and they would hire workers. Yossi, yes, you were going to ask.
Is that a chiddush from Rav Vosner?
It is a chiddush. Yossi's asking if what Rav Vosner is saying is a chiddush about the paper. It is a chiddush because, I don't know. Doesn't it say in Shulchan Aruch that a paper is good enough?
By the way, that's our Rabbi Vosner.
No, that's the Shevet HaLevi. Our Rabbi Vosner does not have a sefer that he wrote that I know of. So
we'll lump him in with his grandpa.
if I happen to know of a psak that he gave, I'm happy to share with you, but not that many that I know of. No, because Rav Vosner says if you publicize something in a newspaper, it's considered as if it's become public knowledge. So there will be no maras ayin in that case.
I came across, maybe had a Shaila, just wonder if you agree with this, with the answer. You have to ship UPS on Friday, overnight.
You have to ship on Friday, yes.
Okay, so it said you can ship over, you can mark it to choose overnight, but don't choose if you have the option Saturday delivery. You ship it to a Jew. No, not good. You can mark it as next day, but you cannot choose like a Saturday delivery.
If the next day is Saturday, then why is it different? If the next day is Saturday, why is it different?
No, next day, standard next day means next business day. But if you want, you can check another box that says
Saturday.
Oh, I see. And
special.
Saturday is not a business day, you say.
Correct,
So if you send on a Friday and you say next day, it's Monday, basically.
correct.
Yeah, that's okay. If next day means Monday, because that's the next business day, then you can send it on Friday. Because you're not telling them when to send it. Next day, if next day means Monday, that means any time till.
Even so, it knows that it has to be traveled to Saturday.
Doesn't have to. Doesn't have to. To get it there by Monday, they don't have
That's their
to.
problem.
They could leave it in the office on Friday and send it out Sunday, and it could still get there by Monday. There's nowhere in the United States, I don't know about Alaska and Hawaii, but there's nowhere in the 48 contiguous states of the United States of America that you can't get it in one day. I'm saying it to go to the airport, take a flight, land, and drive it. You know what I'm saying? Unless it's a place that doesn't have an airport, I don't know. But any place that has an airport, it's not. If you take off Saturday delivery, then it's a problem because you're actually telling them to deliver it on Shabbos. That
Even so, it's somebody going and it's going to go.
well, the issue isn't about who it's going to. The issue is about you're telling them to do it. You're telling them to do it. It seems to be a problem.
You don't, Rabbi, Mechila.
Well, one second. I just want to clarify the issue. This is Kablanus. Whenever you send something UPS, USPS, FedEx, all these things is Kablanus. You don't pay them per hour. You pay them per job, no matter how many hours it takes them. That is Kablanus. But Kablanus, you can never tell them to do it on Shabbos. So whenever you tell them to do it on Shabbos, it's no good. Or if you give them a time limit, which must include Shabbos. You know what I'm saying? Even if you tell them Saturday night, But if you're giving it in an hour before Shabbos, and the only way for them to get it there is by taking it on Shabbos, that's also forbidden. They have to be able to fulfill the job you're giving them, not on Shabbos.
Rabbi,
That's the only way.
So posting first-class mail on Friday is
One second, Yossi, your arm is asking. I'm
we
sorry.
order something on Amazon, okay?
Yeah.
They said they want rush for tomorrow for Shabbat or regular time. I said regular time,
Yeah.
okay?
Yeah.
Regular time, next Shabbat they come to my door and I don't answer, they drop it outside.
Yeah, but you didn't
Okay.
ask them.
But you didn't
It's
ask.
okay, you didn't ask
That's
them.
their choice. I think you're asking them.
No problem. As long as you didn't ask them.
There are settings for each of your address.
Really?
Check it out.
Really? I didn't know that.
Yeah, but it's okay, as long as you don't tell them.
No,
If you give them the option to deliver it,
then I will have lose another week. I said regular.
but for your information, you cannot use it on Shabbos if it came from
No,
out of the
also
Tchum.
mail coming like I don't open it.
If it came from out of the Tchum, or if you're in a place that an Eruv, or either way, you cannot use it.
No, I never open. I
So you
just
can't open anyway, right? You'd be tearing and.
Yes, a telling, right, Rabbi?
Depends.
So some people I see they open it, Rabbi.
Really?
Some people are makbid when it comes to opening letters in general. You can't open
Open
it.
it? You can't open it.
Yeah, opening letters is the problem.
It's a problem. So
Opening letters is a
packages even
problem.
more of an issue.
They should
Yeah,
not.
but
Opening letters is a problem, but I don't know about box of tape. I don't know about a box.
Why a letter is an issue, not
Because letter, you're actually breaking a letter. A letter is like a clee.
Seal.
With the box, you're just ripping tape. The tape is like nothing.
Using tape on Amazon Prime, that they tape the logo.
There's letters.
Okay, letters are another problem. But besides the letters, I don't know if cutting tape per se is a problem. I don't know.
No, but the letter you can.
I don't think so.
The letter
Because
is
you're
a
not breaking a box. You understand? You're not breaking a
Finishing,
box. You're just breaking through the tape. What's the tape? The tape is not a keli. If it has letters, it's a problem. But anyway, if it came from outside the tchum, can't do it.
You can't do it.
Can't do it. I believe it's even muktzah. If it came from outside the tchum, I believe it's muktzah.
So you should leave the box outside.
Who asks questions?
Yeah, Yossi, sorry, go ahead.
I was asking, am I allowed to send a letter first-class mail on Friday?
What does that mean, first class mail? That what?
Regular mail.
It's you buy two kinds of stamp. First class tries to get it there. It's not a guarantee, but it tries to get it there next day.
Right. But it's not guaranteed, you're saying. They don't have to.
It's not a commitment.
Okay, so it's not a commitment, so it's okay. You're not telling them to do it, that they have to do it. You're saying they could do it. They could do it the next day, or they could do it in 2 days. And to fulfill their obligation, they could do it within 2 days. So that's a standard Kablan. And you didn't tell them to do it on Shabbos. They don't have to do it on Shabbos to fulfill their commitment, so that's okay.
So also, I'm surprised. I always thought that packages that arrive are muktzah.
Well, presumably they come from outside the Tchum, and therefore they are muktzah. I believe that is correct.
To the extent that all of the delivery people around northwest London know that when you go to a Jewish house, you just put it on the floor and
Right.
they sign for it.
Right. Yes, I believe that would be correct.
Right.
Okay, so we are going to, let me just have a look at the handout and see if there's anything I want to mention. You know what? What I'm going to do now is I'm going to actually go to the Mechaber and the Alter Rebbe, and I'll get back to my handout before the end of the class and see if there's anything on it that I didn't mention. So we'll do it the opposite of the way we did it last night. Okay, here we are in the Mechaber. If you have a Mechaber, good. And if you don't, it is online. Did I send out a link to the Mechaber yesterday?
Yeah.
I did, okay. So it's on Sefaria. Okay, Poisek Adam, Peush Masna Me'ena Yehudi al Malacha. A person can make an agreement. I didn't start this yet. I'm on the Mishnah Berurah. Yeah, the Mishnah Berurah, no?
I did not get it.
Okay.
I didn't know.
Okay.
Next time.
A person can make an agreement with a non-Jew to do work, but koitzitz damim, and he can make a fixed price. And the non-Jew can do it for himself, meaning to say of his own accord, based on his own decision. Even though he's doing it on Shabbos, mutter it's mutter. Can't tell him to do it on Shabbos, but if he chooses to do it on Shabbos, it's no problem. Medram, when we say this, bitzina, only if it's privately. That not everybody knows that he's doing work for the Jew. But if it was well known, also that it's also because the person who sees the non-Jew working does not know that he is a kablan. Katzatz means that it's a fixed price and that he's being paid by the job. Instead, he'll think, perhaps, that the Jew hired the non-Jew to work for him on Shabbos, like a regular worker. Therefore, a person who made an arrangement with a non-Jew to build for him his yard or his wall, or to cut his field. We were speaking yesterday about a gardener or whatever. If the work was in the city, Medina here means city, not country. The Mishnah Berurah explains. Or not, even if it's outside of the city, if it's within the tchum of the city, so people from the city might be walking by. It's forbidden to allow the non-Jew to do the work on Shabbos because of the people that see it. They don't know that you had an arrangement which makes him into a kablan. Here's a chiddush. Let's say you are the only Jew in the area. There is not even one other Jew in the entire city. Must be a town, not a city. But whatever the case, so you're still not allowed to do it. You're still not allowed to let the goy do it. You're the only one. Okay, maybe you'll have a...
Yes.
Yaakov doesn't have a link.
Naomi,
Why not?
Rabbi,
I don't get that.
Naomi, she went.
Oh, Yaakov doesn't have a link for the Sefaria. Sorry, I didn't know what you meant. Sorry, what would you say?
Naomi, she went to Goy area all by herself with the husband with the 2 kids.
Yes, indeed.
So she cannot say anything for Goy.
What's the chashash? Link. Did you get the handout today, Yaakov?
Did you send a handout today? It was, whatever I got was blank.
Are you serious?
No, yeah, I'm serious. There was nothing attached.
Wow, that's a big mistake. How did that happen?
It happens to the best of us.
Yeah, but why didn't anybody tell me? There's no attachment, Rabbi. Somebody did tell me. I didn't check my email. What do you know? Oh, okay. In general, guys, if you get a email with no attachment, you have to let me know.
I didn't think, because I thought you were just forwarding something that was from yesterday to tell people there's a class tonight. That's why.
No.
That's why I didn't think.
Oh well, so it's Hashkacha Pratis that I started to read the Mechaber and Alter Rebbe because you have no handout. All right, here goes.
But I have the Mishnah Berurah here, so it's okay.
Okay, good. Yaakov, I just sent you the link. Okay, so what's the reason? Because he might have guests. Sorry? No. The Jew, the one Jew in the whole city, he himself knows that his goy is a kablan. He might end up with a guest for Shabbos. And that guest will not know. Or his own family members might wonder about it. So you'll say, okay, maybe you'll tell them. But maybe you'll forget to tell them. Maybe you'll forget to tell them. So Chazal made a decree
person lives in a city that doesn't have Jews in its home, allowed to have.
No. If the work is being done in a city that no Jew, including himself, lives in the Tchum,
Meaning not even there.
he's not even there, exactly. The example of this would be real estate developers who buy a tract of land in the middle of nowhere and they build a development, and there's nobody else there. Could be Jewish owned, as long as the people working are Kablanim, which I assume they are, contractors. That's the way most companies do it nowadays. So it's okay. There's literally nobody is in the area. Nobody lives there. It means the workers come and build and then they leave. Hopefully his workers are not Jewish. That's a separate issue. But that's it.
As long as there's no sign that says like, no,
Even if there's a sign, but nobody lives there. Who's going to see them
Yeah,
working on
there's a
Shabbos?
sign in front of the door. Well, you could have a just can't do.
Yeah, that's what it is. It doesn't work even.
You could have places like that.
No, the real estate developments, yeah.
No, I'm saying that. Sure,
Yeah, they just choose a place in the middle of nowhere, not mamish nowhere, because they want people to move there, but I'm saying
states that don't have.
exactly close enough to other cities, but far enough that it's cheap land, and they just build a development. But somebody asked me, for example, he bought a house, an investment in North Miami, not a Jewish area, and he wanted to renovate it. He was renovating it, and he wanted to let the goyim work on Shabbos. I said, you can't do it. It's not a Jewish area, but it's within the tchum of a Jewish area. So it's possible that a Jew can walk by and see and wonder what's going on.
Working on the roof,
Same thing. Any work done in the house, same thing.
I have a question.
Yeah.
In Edgware, there was a kosher restaurant that was that had some renovation work done over Yom Tov against their wishes. And they published something in the newspaper saying that whatever had been done had been undone. And they had fired their builder and engaged a new builder to do this. Is that actually necessary?
I don't believe it's necessary by letter of the law
which part?
to undo what they did.
We talk about
Shmuel Leib mentioned it yesterday that that some people do that if they do it, they undo it. But here's the thing. The Alter Rebbe says, based on the Ramah, actually, the Ramah says, we're going to see, that some say it's okay. It's okay. It's okay to have goyim working as kablanim, even on karka, even on land or on something connected to the ground, because it's considered it's normal nowadays. It's normal nowadays. Plenty of goyim do. Plenty of people do it, and it's normal, and there's no marasayin, and it's allowed. One second. I want to finish. So based on that opinion, the Alter Rebbe says, b'di'evet, as long as it was a kablan, you understand? As long as it was a kablan, if it was a schir yoim, then you actually cannot move into that house. You literally can never live in that house. A house that was built for a Jew by a schir yoim, it's forbidden to actually live in that house ever. But if it was built by a kablan, the psak al-Alter Rebbe based on the Ramah is that b'di'evet you could live there. So in this case, I assume he was a kablan. I assume that's the way most builders work nowadays. So therefore, they wouldn't technically have to undo the work and do it again. But the evidence would be okay. That being said, maybe they wanted to make a policy and show that they meant business and people shouldn't take advantage in the future or whatever.
Well, it could have been the kashrus.
The kashrus agency didn't want restaurants to take advantage in the future. Who holds like the Ramah? The Alter Rebbe relies on him at the Evid. Lachatchila, I don't think so. No.
So to give someone a warning or whatever.
Oh, you know what? Yeah. 1 second. You finish what you're saying, then I'll say. So we rely on the Ramah to build a shul if there is no other way than to build it on Shabbos. That's what it says. Like
those
for
are the only workers you can find.
well, the example that they give in Shulchan Aruch Now, the Shulchan Aruch is when the goyim sometimes rescind their permission to build. Like they gave you permission to build a shul, you better build it quickly before they change their mind. And the only way you'll finish it quickly is by building it on Shabbos. And it's a place that it's normal for builders to be kablanim, to be paid by their job, not by the hour. So in that case, because it's a mitzvah, and it may be the only way to do it, and it's well known, you can rely on our. In that case, yeah. It's not, I mean, it's like the Chachila Mamish, like a Shas and Chak. We can find the concept of Shas and Chak is like a B'diyah.
Why we don't say it in Israel that halacha is I'm not saying to question, I'm just saying in Israel it's okay that halacha. We are in a goy country, you know.
And therefore what?
And that's for the working. Everybody, you know, you build or you cut the grass. I don't let the grass anybody to cut my
And
grass.
therefore, what's your question? I don't understand your question.
It's a country for going. Why we need to be strict at that point?
I don't understand. Can a guy work for you on Shabbos? Yes
Not
or
for
no?
me. He's working for himself.
What do you mean? He's cutting your grass. I don't
That's,
understand what you mean.
I'm not letting. I want to know why they strict at that. If this is a country for going.
I don't understand. What does that have to do with the country being for goyim? Can you have a guy work for you on Shabbos? Yes or no?
No.
No. Finished. So who cares what the country is?
Why? I mean, okay. It's finished, but we okay. So you said that we said if he's a kablan, you know, so
Kablan is only Marat Ayin. That some people might think that you hired him for the hour.
According to everyone, it's okay if someone's doing it for them. You have to give the thing, you have to focus on that.
No, I don't think so, Rabbi. You work should you?
Specifically in my case, the guy's smart. Happens to be. And I see that the guys are working on his.
He will not say hello to you anymore. They don't want it.
I would say it. I would say it. It's a Chil Hashem. It's Chil
No
Hashem.
one holds like they're annoying.
No one passes like him, and it could lead to other people saying, "Oh, see."
So
There's a guy whose house I pass every time on the way to shul,
exactly what's happened to me.
and a few times I saw workers there, and I told him every time, and he told me every time that he tells them specifically not allowed to, and every time it's a frum guy, and every time he says he gets back to them, he shouts at them, and
They just keep showing up.
no, all the times that I saw, it wasn't like the whole thing. It was like a renovation. It was like two guys working on one little corner, you know what I'm saying? Because they have different parts of the house that they're renovating. So obviously those two guys were probably subcontractors of the contractors, and they didn't listen, and they went ahead. So whatever.
I cross the street when I go to synagogue, and somebody, a guy cut the grass for a Jewish. I know it's Jewish house, so I should knock on the door. I said, you should tell him not to.
It's an interesting question. I don't know if you have to knock on the door because maybe he
I don't
doesn't
see him.
know.
I know he's a Jewish. I know.
You never see him.
From?
I saw once in a blue moon, but he's driving, so I cannot scream to him. He's a Jew, but
From?
no, I don't think. I think so. I mean, דתי,
a lot of other things besides
יש דתיים ששומרים, אבל לא שומרים את זה.
I don't know what to tell you. I don't know what to tell you. I know there is a Gemara somewhere. The exact source is escaping me right now.
אם תקבל מכות, אז תברח.
No, לא חוץ מזה. There's a Gemara somewhere that says that b'drabanan oisem maisa. I don't remember the exact language, but basically, if somebody's doing something that may be an Issur D'Oraisa, you have to point it out to them right away. If somebody's doing something that may be an Issur D'Rabbanan, maybe not, you don't have to point it out right away.
Yes.
If it's an actual Issur D'Rabbanan, yeah.
Every time I see someone Machal Shabbos, I have to go up to them and say, "Excuse me, you are Machal Shabbos."
Well, that's a chiddush.
I have to go and tell everyone what they're doing correctly.
Well, you don't have to say it.
The guy that's driving on Shabbos, I have to go up to him and say, "Excuse me, sir, you're not allowed to be driving on Shabbos."
Well, you have to
You
say it
haven't noticed.
nicely. You have to say it nicely. You have to say, come to the shul, come Shabbos me up.
Are cable ties an Issur Midoraisa?
I have to tell them everything, but I have to tell them that what they're doing is wrong. What's the chiyuv according to what you're saying, according to that Gemara or that Rishon or whatever it is?
Is there a kiruv element to all of this?
have to warn this
Well,
person?
we're
I'm
going off
serious.
topic. We're going way off topic.
Responsible.
I'm
No,
just
no, I think
addressing
it's right.
one particular issue. The particular issue was, does Yoram have to tell his neighbor to tell the grass cutter to stop cutting? And my answer is that when it comes to a suffix, if there's an Isra Rabban happening, you don't have to be moicha right away. You can be moicha at some later point, because he may or may not be doing an Isra Rabban. You don't know for sure.
I'll become like a
So-
Noach, not like Abraham.
Can I ask
You tell
a
him.
question on that?
Yes.
Two questions actually. Are cable ties an Issa Midaraisa?
What is?
Cable ties, is that like tying a knot?
What's a cable tie?
You
Like those
might have a different word for it over there.
plastic strips?
That, yes.
Is tightening a cable tie an Issa D'Oraisa?
Or tying one, yeah. Is it like tying a knot?
No, I don't think so.
Okay. And the next one is putting up an actual paroches on an Aron Kodesh. Is that in this? I know that that's problematic because of the way that we do a bit, because we said that
Why is it problematic? Putting up berachas is essentially permissible. You just have to be careful not to make an oil while you're putting it up. That's all we
I
say.
thought that a paroches is different because it's mechitza lahatir.
No, it's not matter anything. It's not matter anything.
But I thought that's an example given in Shulchan Aruch, isn't it?
No.
Because it says like a thing that's in front of Sfarim, or
I think it's in front of his farm when you want to do something that you're not allowed to do in front of his farm. Hopefully in shul you're not doing anything you're not allowed to do in front of his farm.
yeah, that's why I was asking.
You have other problems.
Because
Rabbi,
okay, because
It's not a mechitza materas.
Rabbi,
You just have to make sure not to making an oil when you do it. That's all.
Rabbi, very your mind right now. You're on Shabbat. You finish the Torah. Rabbi is speaking. The Torah is on the counter. You take a tzitzit and you cover it. It's oil.
No.
It's no oil, right?
Cable.
No. David is asking, if you work in real estate, could you sell a piece of real estate for a building that's pre-construction if the developers will be building the condo on Shabbos? Talking about Jewish developers? If it's a Jewish developer, that's a shaila. If it's a non-Jewish developer, it's not your problem at all. If it's a Jewish developer, that's a shaila.
What if he's subcontracting?
Yeah, that's the thing. If it's subcontracting, you're helping him do a Isser D'Rabbanan Maras Ayin. I don't know. I don't think it's so terrible. What are you going to say?
If there's something that you have to tell somebody,
Yes.
you shouldn't do it on Shabbos, but you know they're not going to listen, you still have to tell them.
In theory, you have to tell them. When it comes to a Isser D'Oraisa that's clear in the Torah, you have to tell them even if they're not going to listen. However, as I said by my Farbrengen, I don't know if you were there or not, and when the Rambam says that you have to give Chacha, he says, you have to rebuke him and make him get better. So the objective is to make him get better. So you only give him the Chacha in a way that's going to make him get better. If you're going to give him the Chacha and he's going to get worse because of it, like throwing stones at him, then better not to say anything.
He's tried a few times, and
So I'm saying you have to figure out a nice way to say it.
send somebody else.
Whatever.
collect the stones before Shabbos.
Can you do home for dinner?
I'm sorry? What'd you say, Yossi?
Oh, I just said collect the stones before Shabbos.
Collecting the stones before Shabbos is not enough. It's still muktzah. Collecting the stones before Shabbos. We'll learn about it in Hilchos muktzah. Stones are muktzah even if you designate them for a one-time non-muktzah
Not in
use.
Yerushalayim, right?
To make them non-muktzah, you have to designate them forever for a non-muktzah use.
Only for somebody.
Okay, anyway. Yes.
If someone's living, a Jew is trying to redo his house, and in the meantime, he's letting one of the goyim that are going to be working in his house live in the house. It's like a idnuk house that he bought.
Yeah.
And on Shabbat, the goy, because he lives there, I'm assuming, I mean, it could be because, yeah, probably because he lives there, and why would you want the grass to grow? He was cutting the lawn.
I don't think it's a problem. If he lives there, he's like a tenant, basically.
A free tenant, a non-paying tenant.
I don't think
It's
it makes a
double the
difference.
house.
Paying or not
Double the
paying.
house, Rabbi.
Paying or not paying, I think it makes a difference. If he's your tenant, tenants do those things.
Rabbi.
I mean, sometimes it's the landlords that take care of the gardening, sometimes it's the tenants. I don't think it's a sign. I don't think so.
Mechila, Rabbi, what he's talking about, you have a guest house in the back of the yard, and the house.
What I'm talking about? Tell me what I'm talking about.
He's a guest, he's not paying.
No, that's not his
He
question.
said he's a guest, he's not paying.
Okay,
So where can he?
He's living in the house. The guy doesn't live in the house yet. It's a beaten up house.
okay,
I'll give him your number. Don't worry.
we continue. The Moisa HaMalacha Chutz LaTchum. If the malacha was outside of the tchum, and there is no city within the tchum of that place that they're doing malacha, mutter, I'm still in the mechaber, mutter it's allowed. If a non-Jew brought in a sheep of a Jew to fertilize his field, look over there. Okay, Beis, here's another chiddush. So, when it comes to malacha that is done with something not connected to the ground, generally that is the type of thing that a goy is allowed to do for a Jew
Like what?
as long as it's in his own domain, because it's Kablanus, and there is no marasayan. Simple example is you're giving your clothing to the dry cleaners. It's a kablan. You're paying him by the job. You're not telling him to do it on Shabbos, and he's doing it in his own domain.
And the Gemara,
As long as you don't ask him,
the suit, you can-
As long as you don't ask him, you want to pick him up to Shabbos, and you don't give him time to do it before or after.
Yeah.
That means you give it in right before Shabbos, and you want to pick it up right after, and the only way you can clean it is on Shabbos.
Yeah,
That's not allowed.
Friday.
That's not
the
allowed.
Gemara.
So the point is that that's an example of what's permitted. However, says the Mechaber, if he's doing work with something not connected to the ground, but it's going to become connected to the ground, meaning to say he's preparing the beams and the bricks and whatever else that he's going to build in your house, so that he cannot do, even in his own domain on Shabbos, because that is going to become public knowledge. People see him making the bricks, and then people see him putting it in, even though maybe he only puts it into the ground on Sunday, but they recognize those bricks, they see they were made on Shabbos, they realize that they're making it for you,
So you should.
and even though he's a Kablan, there's still Marasayan, that people might think that he's your worker. Okay. There's a chashash, there's a suspicion that people will recognize and people will realize. Maybe yes, maybe no, but Chazal included it under the general prohibition of mechuber, of something connected to the ground. Okay, now if it was done already,
And the guy doing it is, in the Jewish area?
no. Oh, he's in the Jewish city, but he's not in your territory. He's not in your land. He's doing it on his own land. He has a brick factory, please. But it's your bricks, that's the thing. And you ordered it, yeah. You paid for it. They belong to you.
Yeah, but you can do it anytime you want. So just to do
I understand, but that's the chiddush. That's the chiddush. If it's something that's going to become connected to the ground, so that's considered to be a public matter.
So you're going to buy bricks from Home Depot. Maybe they're done on Shabbos and you're going to build your wall with this.
No, if you're buying the bricks from Home Depot, you can buy them. I'm talking about if you buy the bricks from Home Depot and you deliver them to your
Property.
construction guy, because they have to be cut. They have to be cut to size. I don't know if the bricks work that way, but they have to be cut to size. They belong to you, and he cuts them. He can't cut them on Shabbos, even in his own backyard, because when they're put into your house, then they may end up.
This is a.
People may realize, oh, he did them on
It
Shabbos.
doesn't say that it's your bricks.
That's what I mean. That's what I mean.
He's taking for 5 houses brick and we cut all of
Says the Mishnah Berurah, "V'dafke kashavanu v'kaisem shel Yisrael." When the son of Lumen Yuri Lasat Sim Lasak now.
You just cut them for your-
Maybe you said as a bottom Shalim Sanka Shalosh, so I say
But if you don't know Rabbi,
if they belong to the guy,
No problem.
there's no problem. There's no problem at all.
yes, it's volunteer.
If I'm not mistaken, it even says in Rishon and Beis, you can even tell him to do it on Shabbos.
So let me ask.
One second, this is a big chiddush. You can tell him to do it on Shabbos. Why? Because what is he doing? He's making bricks for himself. He didn't sell them to you yet. He's making his own bricks. You're going to buy them after Shabbos. You want to be able to buy them. Vakasha, he can make them for himself to sell to you.
Like the jacket.
Doesn't belong to you.
Like the jacket.
It's like you can tell a guy to do his own work on Shabbos.
Taylor? You want to be
A tailor is making a suit that still belongs to him. You want to buy it, but it still belongs to him. Yeah?
we like to allow him, like let's say you make a kina with him, you sell him your bricks.
Oh, yeah. No.
Then you buy it back after when you finish.
The whole thing is Maras Ayin. How does a Harama get rid of Maras Ayin? The point is when something is connected to the ground, it becomes public. So then how does a trick take away from Maras Ayin? A trick would only help if it's a real Isser. So then you'll get rid of the Isser. It doesn't belong to you. But if the whole thing is about what people will think, a trick is not going to change what people think. In the case of the suit or the bricks, it is still forbidden speech to tell them to make it in the first place. No, it's forbidden. Maybe it's forbidden on Shabbos. I don't know if you could tell them on Shabbos to make it, because maybe you're telling them to work on Shabbos. But if you tell them before Shabbos, why don't you cook up some bricks for me and I'll buy them from you after Shabbos. Because at that time he's totally working for himself with his own property. I don't think this Malach is about that. I don't think. I'm not 100% sure. Eitan was supposed to come. Sorry?
I said, don't try it at home because if you're not in the
Eitan Ombro was supposed to come.
Yeah, Rabbi?
Yes, go ahead.
Yeah, I don't understand the Mechaber here. He said, and the Ramah, he's saying, and if the Goy did cut the stones for the Jew, it's forbidden.
Yep.
But if he did so, you should not sink the house. What does that mean?
No. You should not sink them into the house. It's an expression in Hebrew, meaning to say to attach them to the house.
Okay, so if he did that, then it's like they're forbidden forever to be used.
Exactly.
And if they did, they have to be destroyed.
No, they don't have to be destroyed. You just can't use them for your house. You could sell them to somebody else.
Oh, you already used them to his house and he built. So that's the thing. You're supposed to take it off.
That's an interesting question. I will just forward this to Eitan.
For this.
Okay. If you want to see if there's another guy around the building, maybe we can make a minion.
Rabbi, is anybody else in the lobby?
Um,
Anybody else?
They're in a shared rabbit hole.
So when they're finished,
Very
they finish at 10? Okay. Joseph, I texted him. Somebody was asking a question? No? Question?
Unless you have to destroy it, refuse them, or you have to give it down.
Oh, that was the question.
Okay, no for now, next week. Let's continue that one.
I think B'diavad is going to be mutter. I think B'diavad it would be mutter. I don't think it's also B'diavad. Sorry?
Without give the downing for the money.
I don't know, what does that
The
mean?
value. Oh,
I don't know. What do you mean the value? The guy built it for you. What do you mean the value? I don't know what you mean.
Let's say the materials that you use, the beam and the stone.
That what? That what to do what?
You put them over the foundation of the house. You're not supposed to.
Yeah.
You have enough. So by giving money against the value of this, like, it's helping?
No.
Instead of takes them out?
No, I don't believe so. I don't believe so. The whole thing over here is, normally when a goy does work for you on Shabbos, in a way that you're going to get benefit from it, gufoy nana, that you're going to get benefit from it, normally we say you have to wait until after Shabbos, bichdei sheyasa, the amount of time that it takes him to make it. So bichdei sheyasa, big deal. How long does it take to cut a brick? I mean, even to make a brick. I mean, you made a day to make a house. He built a house on Shabbos. So you wait an extra day. He built it over the course of the year. There's 52 Shabbos in a year. So you wait another 52 days. You've waited b'chdei sheyasa. But the problem is that it's a chilul Hashem, because everybody knows this house was built on Shabbos. So therefore, when it comes to houses and in general things connected to the ground, we're more strict, and we say that you shouldn't live in it ever. So it's not really a isser, like a regular isser of Shabbos, in which case we'll say, okay, give the money away, whatever. Here it's more of the concept that people know this house was built on a forbidden way on Shabbos. So it's not going to help to give the money. I don't believe you're allowed to sell it to another Jew. I believe you're allowed to sell it to a goy.
We're allowed to buy it after from the goy again?
I don't believe so. You're allowed to sell it to a goy, and that's it. If to put in the deed, he's never allowed to sell it to a Jew. I don't know if that's legal in the state of Florida. Is that legal? No. So that's it. You're stuck. But in the olden days, they used to have that. I think in Australia, they still have that. There are certain houses that the owner put in the deed that it's not allowed to be sold to a Jew.
They were goyim?
Goyim, they were goyim. No, goyim.
Is it because of halacha or is it because of something else? Was it because of halacha or was it because of something?
Goyim, what do you mean?
Was he just the one?
No, it's not the city. The city didn't make the rule. A person who owned this property sold it to somebody else, but he put in the deed, I'm selling it to you on condition that you don't resell it to a Jew.
And it's legal?
I think it's still legal in Australia. I think so.
Not over here.
But Rabbi,
I don't think so.
Rabbi,
I don't think
if
so.
he doesn't listen to you, when you sell it,
I'm pretty sure it's not legal here. Very strict housing
after
discrimination
Here-
laws.
Here's something.
Rabbi,
Yeah.
after
That's
3-4 times you sell to another
That's
person, then the other one doesn't care.
Yeah, I'm just saying.
And like in Israel, you don't allow to sell a house to goy.
But instead of saying you're not allowed to sell it to a Jew, you have to sell only to a goy.
If a Jew, David is asking, if a Jew has a business that sells products on Amazon, or if they have any internet web business, do they have to shut down the website completely on Shabbos? Or would it be permissible to allow people to browse for products on Shabbos on the site and place the order, and then the website sends them a notice that the order will be only processed after Shabbos? I have a website owned by from Jews that does it this way, but it sounds to me like it still might be a problem to do this.
But anyway, you're shipping only on Monday.
Rabbi,
Yeah.
you just remind me something, Rabbi.
1 second, let me answer David's question. I don't believe it's usher. I don't believe it's usher. Because you're basically, the website is doing the work for you. You're not doing it yourself, obviously, and there's no guy doing it either. It's all the computer, it's all automatic. And the question is Char Shabbos, but if you don't process the payment till after Shabbos, I don't think it's a problem.
What about people that have Amazon with Hillman? Amazon ships.
Ooh, that's an interesting shayla. So then how do you get out of Char Shabbos? That's an interesting shayla. So everything is done on Shabbos, basically. Payment, the shipment. Interesting.
D&H.
I don't know.
D&H, the,
Company, the camera company.
they sell a lot of electronics. and
Yeah,
stuff. Their internet,
yeah,
you can look on Shabbos.
yeah.
You can't buy, there's no way to
Can't
buy.
buy. Nice. Question.
There's some more mall and swap shop in Saturday. You do not open Shabbat,
I was about to
and
say that.
Penalty, yeah.
Sunday and the weekend. Sunday and Sunday and Sunday.
So don't rent there. Don't rent there.
I've just seen that going on twice.
Maria says.
Emet.
Emet. But yes, I mean, this is the Ramah. They made him first from Shushal Yisrael. If it's not well known that it belongs to a Jew, Shari it's allowed. Shari it's allowed.
So in that way, being clause, if it's according to the Ramah.
I'm sorry?
According to the Ramah, there are some say that since it's permissible, if it's not publicized, you know, it's not forbidden forever to use those stones.
Oh, well, it's even permissible in the first place, according to the Ramah.
Oh, but the Mechaber, I mean.
Right.
I know I was okay. I guess because he said Yesh Omrim, that means means it's permitted.
So Oregon has a pretty cool art pad, which has, I believe, 12,000 different measurements of pressure.
I need you guys to put yourself on mute. Too much noise in the background there, please. Thank you. Okay. Let's continue. Im banu einem Yudum Yisrael bayis b'Shabbos b'Isser. The Machaber and Gimel. Yes. In Banu Einam Yudum Yisrael bayis b'Shabbos b'Isser. Non-Jews built a house for a Jew on Shabbos in a forbidden way. Meaning to say that it was within the Tchum, even though it was Kablanus. Even though it was Kablanus, it was within the Tchum. It is proper to be machmer, not to enter into the house. Now this is a chiddush, because here there was no iser done whatsoever. The entire iser was just maris ayin. Nevertheless, that's why the Machaber doesn't say aser. He says nochen lahachmer. It's a good chumrah to not enter into it. Miyu, the Ramah says,
That means not to buy it.
Exactly, not to buy it, and if
You can't own it.
If you did buy it, then you sell it to somebody else, to a non-Jew, because a Jew should never enter into it.
What was the case?
Banu Einam Yehudim Yisrael Bayis b'Shabbos b'Isser. They built a house for a Jew in a forbidden way, meaning to say not necessarily a schir yoim, which is an absolute prohibition, but even a kablanus in the tchum of the city, which is a maris ayin prohibition, nochen lahachmer shelo yikansu b'Yisrael elamas, even though there was no severe violation done, and therefore, sorry? The Ramah says, "Umiyum hisni shol many Yehudi shalasim lacha b'Shabbos, many Yehudi asah bal korchoi, the mar lash lemalachta ein lachosh."
The Kablanus thing by Rabbeinu Tam is allowed.
Sorry?
Rabbeinu Tam.
Yes.
Kablanus only.
Exactly. I thought that was the Ramah, but I don't see the Ramah quoting it. But that is Rabbeinu Tam's opinion. Then one second. The Ramah says if the Jew made a condition with a Gentile that he cannot do the malach on Shabbos, and the goy did it against the will of the Jew, then ein lachosh, then it's mutter. But like Ronnie said, Rabbeinu Tam, I thought it was the Ramah, but Rabbeinu Tam is not quoted in the Ramah. Rabbeinu Tam is of the opinion that says that if it's kablanus, it's mutter, because he considers it to be normal and it's not such an unusual thing, and therefore it's not forbidden for maris ayin. And b'diavad, the Alter Rebbe Paskins, you can rely on the Ramah if it's kablanus, only kablanus, not schir yoim.
So Alter Rebbe also.
B'diavad, not l'chatchila. If it's already built, then yeah. I actually had this situation also on my way to shul. This house was going up. This house was going up, and I know the owner. And they were Pasha working on Shabbos.
Also on Shabbos.
On Shabbos, and I told the owner, and he said, "Yeah, whatever, I don't care."
Was he a from Jew?
Borderline from. And I asked him if, because he's like a real estate guy himself. I asked him, "Do you have a contractor, or are you hiring these guys yourself?" He said he's hiring them himself. So that's like a Schir Yom situation.
Right.
That's like a very,
So-
very severe violation. And I think it would be usher, even according to the Alter Rebbe, to go into the house, which Baruch Hashem he sold.
But can
To a non-Jew, to a
can a
non-Jew.
Jew buy that house?
I don't think so.
No, no,
How-
no.
I don't think so.
How are you gonna know?
I mean, as long as I'm alive, living in Surfside, Baruch
No,
Hashem,
but
I'll.
let's say there's a Jewish developer that you know has workers working on Shabbos. You shouldn't buy a house from that developer? New construction.
If there's Schir Yom, if there's Schir Yom.
Most times they have Kablanus.
No, here's the thing. Nowadays, what happens mostly is that the contractor is a Kablan, but the workers are Schir Yom. The bricklayers, they punch in and they punch out. I'm sorry?
The workers are security for Kablanus.
I understand that, but if the Kablan is Jewish, here's a problem. If the Kablan is Jewish, if the contractor is Jewish, and he hires Schir Yom to build a thing, then you're in big trouble. Then you're in big trouble. Kablan is a guy, then it's not okay, but it's only Mars Ayin, because the workers are not working for the Jew. They're working. Right, but if the actual contractor is a guy, the workers are working for him. So there's still a Mars Ayin component because they don't know. People don't know that they're working for them. But it's still not. But if the contractor is a Jew, they're working for him. That's a big problem. Yeah.
I have a question about that person who told me.
Yeah.
Let's say he is a buy house. It's already built. We don't know which one, but he built it. He bought it on Shabbat, signed everything. Yes, he owned the house on Shabbat.
You bought it on Shabbos?
Yes. What's happened with that? You allowed to sell it to another Jew, or you allowed to go visit over there?
Interesting shaila. It is an interesting shaila.
Well, what if you have a realtor? Should you not have a realtor that's a non-from Jew? Because they're marketing your house on Shabbos. They may find.
Well, if they're working in their own office, they're allowed to. They are a kablan. They get paid
They're not
for the
not
sale.
Jew.
Now, if you own a house and you hire a realtor,
It's a Jew who's not.
okay, Jew is not firm is something else. That's problematic. That's problematic. Then you should tell them they're not allowed to work for you on Shabbos, and if they do, I don't know what. But whatever, that's a problem.
It's like you said.
A non-Jewish realtor is not your problem. What he does off your property, shouldn't show it on Shabbos. But whatever he does, whoever he talks to, not on your property on Shabbos is okay. I don't know the answer. If a Jew buys a house on Shabbos, does it become Asa forever? I don't think so, but I don't know the answer. Not sure.
Maybe it's up to a guy.
In Australia, by the way, they have a lot of houses that are sold by auction. Here also they have auctions once in a while, bank auctions, but there, like a lot of private people also sell their houses by auctions, and a lot of the auctions take place on Shabbos because people don't work as much. So I'm saying that's I don't know what they do there. I don't know what they do.
Maybe an agent.
I don't know. Okay, we continue and we say, a malacha that is done in a public way, even if it's movable. For example, a ship that is known to belong to a Jew. So that is like a malachas mechuber. And if a Gentile works on it on Shabbos, there's a Maras Ayin component, even if he's a Kabbalah. And you would have to stop him if he's working on your ship in a public place on Shabbos.
So this Costa Rica cruise
I was
used to go.
Costa Rica doesn't own the
Yeah, but how about Carnival Cruise
Yeah,
Lines?
Mickey
That's owned by
It's
Aerosmith.
Jewish, yeah.
It's a public company,
Carnival Cruise Line is probably the biggest.
but it's a
Yeah.
public company.
Well, yeah.
He's the CEO, but it's a public company, I think.
You know, worse problem over there because the
It
food is,
it's on the stock market,
the food is
no?
not
Oh,
kosher.
yes, yeah.
So it's owned presumably by a majority of non-Jews. Oh, if he's a majority of if he's a majority stakeholder,
Mickey Harrison's Jewish.
Yeah.
yeah,
He owns the-
totally
He's
Jewish.
Israeli?
He's Rabbi.
He lives in Bal Harbor. I don't know where he lives exactly in Bal Harbor, but I believe. Yeah.
Also to Miami Heat.
With
Yeah,
Ronan
no,
Katz. With
that-
Ronan
that-
Katz, yeah.
Wait, so should he not go to Heat games either? I'm serious.
On Shabbos, definitely not.
He's got workers working for him on Shabbos in Miami Heat games.
What does that to do with your going on Sunday? I mean, you could punish him, but it's not
But-
forbidden.
What's the difference between that and the ship?
You send them like a class.
One second. The ship,
Isn't the ship
what are you
owned by a
saying? The
corporation?
ship should become usher if it's built on Shabbos? Is that what you're saying?
No, he said that he has workers working on it.
Working on like doing.
No,
the
I'm talking
ship,
about building the ship. Building the ship, not doing
Fix the
Oh,
ship.
okay.
the regular work that people do on a ship on Shabbos. I'm talking about building the ship. Building the ship is done in a public way, presumably in a shipyard. And ships are things, are such big items that people know who the owners are. And therefore, there's a Maras Ayin thing. And therefore, even if the workers are Kablanus, they shouldn't be doing it on Shabbos. You can, for sure, you can tell them to do it on Shabbos, but even if they do, you have to tell them not.
It's usually-
Even if it's in a private location, there's
No.
right?
No, only if it's in a public location.
Oh, so if it's not
Only in a
usually
public
when it fixes
location.
ships, it's not, that's not like.
Okay. Yeah. It's talking about in a case, they used to do it like on the riverbank, you know what I'm saying, in a public place. But if it's in a factory inside, it's no problem.
The large shipyards, we can't go in. They're huge.
Right, so then it wouldn't be a problem. It's only a problem if it's done in a public
And
way.
also, I don't know how they contract to buy it. I don't know if they take possession of it after it's built.
Right,
It might be to their design.
right, they probably buy it off a builder, yeah.
It's a publicly traded corporation. Just because the Jew is the president or holds a big share in it, that doesn't mean,
No, if he owns a controlling share in it,
yeah, but controlling share.
controlling share is 51%.
Pardon me?
51%.
Yeah, but you can control a corporation with 5%. Doesn't take that much to control a corporation. So for sure, with 51%.
With 5%, you could tell them to not build it on Shabbos, to that extent?
You can run the management. You can be the president, the chairman of the board.
I don't know enough about this, I must say. Is this halacha with the Sfina, the base of the Rebbe is ruling on working with Zim Shipping Company? No, not at all. The Rebbe's issue with with the Zim shipping line, the Israeli shipping line, is that they're Jews. They're Jews that are doing malacha on Shabbos. Here we're talking about non-Jews who are building a ship for a Jew, and they're kablanim. There's very little actual isser going on here. The Jew is not doing anything. The non-Jew is not even a schir, and he wasn't even told by the Jew to do it on Shabbos. Nevertheless, because he's doing it in a public way and people know the ship belongs to a Jew, it's Maras Ayin. The Rebbe was talking about something else completely. The Rebbe was talking about ships that belong to the state of Israel and have Israeli sailors on them, and those sailors are doing work on Shabbos. Because when you run a ship, you have to do stuff. So that's a big problem. That's what the Rebbe was talking about.
On the ship itself, when it's running, when it's built and running, the only people really are doing malacha are the ones who run the engines and stuff.
Well,
The other
if they're-
people
if
serving food.
First of all, serving food involves plenty of malachas, unless you're from and you know how to do it in a permissible way. But anyway, these shipping lines were not cruise lines. They were shipping lines.
Yeah.
Shipping lines. So the main malacha is the running the ship. The Rebbe had a lot of correspondence about that, and people tried to argue that the ships can run without any human involvement. And the Rebbe said that he worked in a navy yard or in a shipyard, whatever, and he's an engineer, and he knows about these things, and it's not true. You have to have human involvement, and so on and so forth.
We could run until they run into trouble, and then it's too late.
Exactly. Okay. Let's do one more halacha on the mechaber, and then we will go over to the Alter Rebbe. This cake here is problematic. We need to pass it around, please. What?
If you uncover that, you have a chance someone could eat it.
You want to see if they want to daven with us? You want to check?
I checked. He doesn't. He said he's from 6 o'clock in the morning.
Okay.
I don't want to push.
Okay. I'm going to tell Al-Khanan that he could come whenever he wants. He can come sooner. Yeah. I'll tell.
Pass it around.
This one?
If you're in California, Friday at 5 p.m., in Tel Aviv, in Miami, that's already Shabbos.
That's an interesting question, but I'll answer it shortly. But let me just tell Al-Khanan.
It's one for you.
No. בבקשה. אני בסדר, תודה.
You need a plate?
Okay. So I told him if you can't come, then I'll tell Joseph to come. Okay. Here goes, hey, Rabbi Sai. Im socher in Yehuda l'shana l'shtayim. Sheyichtiv lo sheyarg lebeged. Hari ze koitzav ori b'Shabbos. Kilu katzim m'shicha l'sefer. Oy sheyarg lebeged. Shu oise b'chol et sheyirtza. Anybody daven yet? No. One. Okay. You didn't. Okay. We're good. V'lo yasam lacha b'Eis Yisrael. Sh'leyashim ma'yamiyam v'yasam lacha b'Eis Yisrael v'yesh m'shes v'socha niru l'zman. V'davka sh'schar l'melacha miyucheres gen berg l'erg sefer lichtay. Av k'sh'sarcha l'chol l'melacha sh'yisach toich zman ha'skiris l'chol yam ha'asor k'men sh'yizbar seif siman reish mem zayin. Rabbi Sai listened very carefully to Sif Hey. This is the Mechaber. Mechaber Nama. If you hire a non-Jew to do a certain job for you, they don't work for you to do whatever you need them to do. They do a certain job for you. For example, they are your scribes. In those days, before they had printers, they had people who did the writing. Or they had tailors who did all the tailoring and all the sewing. So now we know that when it comes to a person that you hire to do a specific job, I want you to copy this book. Right, again, before printing press. I have this book, I need another copy. Sit down and copy it. So not on my property, I could tell a guy to do it. Do it whenever you want. You don't have to work on Shabbos, obviously. Work whenever you want. I don't have to tell him not to work on Shabbos because it's his decision. The same thing. I tell a tailor, I need you to make me a suit, and I'm even going to give you the material for the suit. Measure me up, make me a suit. Whenever you're ready, I'll pay you and I'll get it from you. You don't have to tell him not to work on Shabbos. He's doing it in his own property. He's a Kablan, b'vakasha.
Today, I send a machine writing the Torah. You saw that?
No good.
It's not good. How do you know? They're doing so
He's saying, how would you know if the Torah was written by a machine?
You buy it from somebody you trust. And if you don't trust the guy you're buying it from, even if it's made by a person, you're in trouble.
They spread around the country.
Amazing. Did you ever see the video?
It looks very nice. The
I
handwriting
mean,
looks very
like
nice.
the machine, on Shabbat, they can work the Shabbat also.
But
I don't
who are these people that are making it?
First of all,
Are they writing?
I thought they were saying they're
Are they writing Torah's
Oh, really?
That's why my question. A machine allowed to work on Shabbat?
Machines that open.
Yeah.
If you program it before, you don't have to do anything. I mean, some machines that make noise might be problematic. Okay. Noise. If it makes noise and people think,
It's in the room, here, nobody go in the room.
could be Marasign, depends on the situation. Okay, so here in this case, he wasn't just writing one sefer for you. He is your official scribe. He writes whatever has to be written. He sows whatever has to be sown. So the Machaber says, the main opinion, which is the first opinion, he brings a Yesh Mishoiser, but the main opinion is the first opinion. He says it's okay if he works on Shabbos, not on your property. He can continue to do the work not on your property. Why? Because that's called a Kablanus. If he has to do all of the work, the Ramah adds, if he has to do all the work, if you're hiring to do any work that I have, so that he's just a regular worker. But if you're hiring to do a certain type of work, and when he's finished that type of work, he's free to take a rest. You understand? When I'm finished copying all the books I have to copy, when I'm finished sewing all the suits I have to sew, take it easy.
So you're paying by the job.
So that's called paying by the job, even though the job is not exactly fixed. It is fluid, because I could have more suits, I could have less suits. It's not exactly one suit. That's still called Kablanus. And as long as I don't tell him to do it on Shabbos, and I'm not makbid if he stops working on Shabbos or on any day, he doesn't have to work every day. He just has to do it. So that is allowed.
And you give him enough time to do it, other than Shabbos.
Exactly. So that is allowed. Again, this is all not on your property. All not on your property. Okay, I want to go over to the Alter Rebbe, and maybe we'll have time to finish off the Machaber later. Reish Mem Daled. כן? יש לך? Here we are. What malachas a Jew could do, a non-Jew can do for a Jew. Sorry? Absolutely, with Hashem's help. Now, you're not allowed to let a goy do work for you on Shabbos, even if you're paying him, if he's working as a schir yoim. For example, you tell him, any day you do work for me, I'm going to pay you, even though you told him before Shabbos, and you didn't tell him to work on Shabbos, but you're paying him by the day, you have to stop him from working for you. Right? A regular worker, you cannot let him work for you on Shabbos, regardless of Maras Ayin, simply because he's your worker. But if he's working as a contractor, for example, he accepted upon himself to do X amount of work for X amount of pay. Whether he's working with your material or with his own material, you gave him material to work with. For example, you gave him a garment, you gave him the physical textile with which to make the garment, and you arranged for him to get a certain payment. Or you gave him the threads with which to weave it. Whether he said he's going to make you the whole suit, whether you said I'm going to pay you per square foot of the suit, sharing. Either way, you're allowed to allow him to do all of the work on Shabbos, even if he works only on Shabbos. Sunday to Friday, he's on vacation.
How about if you have me the guy, like, I'm paid by the week, but you have to be sure that you're making 40 hours in 7 days.
That's his choice.
Basically, but it worked for you, but is it allowed to come on Shabbos and do some malachot for you? Going to be a law?
No, that's not called Allah. That's not called Allah. What is his job?
Maintenance, cleaning, whatever it is.
Kol malachas, basically.
Yeah.
Whatever is needed.
Yeah.
That's a regular worker. That's a schir yom. He can't work on Shabbos. Even if you don't tell him to, he can't work on Shabbos. Okay. Even if you know he's working on Shabbos and you're happy that he's working on Shabbos, because the fact is that you do need the suit for an upcoming bar mitzvah. You're happy about it, but you didn't tell him. The guy's not doing it for you, he's doing it for himself. He wants to finish the work, so he'll get paid. It's not like a schir yom. The schir yom, the work is not his. He doesn't care about it. His kavanah is not to finish the job. He doesn't have to finish it. He doesn't get anything for finishing it. He just has to work for the hour, whether he finishes or not. That's the problem with people who get paid by the hour. They have no incentive to finish the job. On the contrary, they stretch it out. They have more work. Yes.
Nobody tell them he finished job on Shabbat, Sunday is a Chol HaMoed. You're allowed to take that stuff.
What's the question?
If you won't dress it for Chatuna.
Are you allowed? Is he allowed to make it for your Chol HaMoed for Chatuna?
No, he's working like we said.
Friday, you can't tell him. You can't tell him.
No,
if he does it on his own, he does it on his own.
On Friday, he's finished on Shabbat. On Sunday, you need that, and it's Chol HaMoed.
What does Chol HaMoed have to do with it? I don't understand your question.
Still holidays.
Nothing to do with it. Sorry.
You're allowed to wear that.
Yeah. Nothing to do with Chol HaMoed, but yeah.
Okay.
One second. But it has to be that he was able to do it before Shabbos. If you told him I need it on Sunday for a wedding.
I did not tell him. I said I need. I know he's rushing.
He's rushing for his own reasons. That's okay. That's okay.
But the malachas that you're allowed to do, you're allowed to go to allowed to do for Sachar.
Yes.
Rabbi,
like we said before, cleaning, a waiter. You can hire a guy to be a waiter.
I have an issue, Rabbi, with
security.
With
I have to be a security. There is a question about Tzchar Shabbos. There's a question if you're allowed to pay him for the work on Shabbos, or if you have to pay it b'havlah, like together with other work. That's the question.
Rabbi, if I have a problem with the mechanic all the time, I told him not to work in my car on Shabbat. So the mechanic is a Jew, and his poalim is going. All the year they're working over there.
I'm sorry?
The shop for the mechanic is owned by Jew. And he has a goyim all the year they're working over there. Sachir. So when I give him on Thursday the car, if he's allowed to work on Shabbat and that. It's a job for a week.
The owner is Jewish?
Yes.
Are you allowed to give a Jewish mechanic who's open on Shabbos, a car to fix for you if you know that he's going to do it on Shabbos?
No.
Absolutely not.
Don't tell me. I mean,
no.
The problem is that if the Jew does any work, you're causing a Jew to work on Shabbos. How do you know he's not going to do it himself?
He's not working.
Oh, he doesn't work. He just lets the goyim work. So you're allowed to cause a Jew to do an Issur D'Rabbanan. That's your question, in other words.
Okay, so I do Issur if I give it to the car.
That's your question. You're asking, is it allowed to cause a Jew to do an Issur D'Rabbanan?
Yeah, but I don't know.
I'm sorry?
Scenario was guaranteed that he's doing it on Shabbos? Even the contractors.
You can't let a Jew do any kind of isurim. That's crazy.
Daniel says you're not allowed.
No, the way the Rabbi
What is
said
the
it,
halakha?
making you do something.
What is the halakha, Daniel?
I would say as follows. If you know that he's going to do it on Shabbos,
No.
then you can't.
Okay.
I'm saying if you tell him I need it for Monday morning, and you know he's closed on Sunday, and you're giving it to him on Friday, so you know that the goyim are going to do it on Shabbos, you know that you're causing him to do it on Shabbos,
So,
then it's a problem. If you don't know that, then it's like we were saying before, it's a suffix Isidar Rabbanan. You're not doing it yourself. You may be causing him to do Isidar Rabbanan.
Monday, Tuesday,
I
Wednesday.
would personally prefer to find a Shem Shabbos mechanic, in which case you are also doing the mitzvah of supporting a Shem Shabbos mechanic. That would be the best. But I don't know if it's awesome. If you're not for sure that he's going to do it on Shabbos. Okay.
Yeah, but on the other hand, you're supporting a Jew who's open on Shabbos. I mean, is that usher?
It's not usher if he's not doing your work on Shabbos. It's not the best. I mean, it's better to support a Shem Shabbos
Why
Jew.
he's doing it there?
No. He's saying if let's say it's not on Shabbos, you're still giving work to a non-Shem Shabbos Jew. It's not forbidden, but it's better to support a Shem Shabbos Jew.
Yep, right.
Umikol moken. Did I finish the paragraph? I don't remember. The Kablan is doing the work for himself. He is doing the work for himself so that he'll finish the job, and therefore he's not considered your shaliach. Nevertheless, you have to be careful that he shouldn't do it in the Jewish house. And you also have to be careful never to tell him to do it on Shabbos. Two separate things. Can't do it in your house because of Marasayin. And even in his house, you can't tell him to do it on Shabbos.
How about if it's a place of business, for example? So table
It
is
makes no difference.
suit, but the building is owned by a Yid.
No, talking about your
It
house.
has to be specific.
Yeah, your house. The Marasayin is that it's in your house and he's working for you. If it's in a building that happens to the landlord is Jewish, no, there's no Mars Ayin if he happens to be in a Jewish-owned building. It's because it's your house and he's working for you. Let me just finish the safe. Let's finish the safe and then we'll break from Meir. Also, you have to make a fixed price before Shabbos. Because if there's no fixed price, then it could be that he's considered working for you because he's trying to please you to make sure that you'll pay him. You also have to be able, he has to be able to finish the job before or after Shabbos. You cannot give it to him in such a way that he must work for you on Shabbos. In Rishon Beis, we're going to learn more details about this. Okay, my long-distance students, you will forgive us, please. We have to break for Meir because somebody has to go, and we're going to pick up after Meir. I'm sorry. I'm just going to leave the hangout going rather than start a new hangout, and we'll pick it up in 10 minutes. I'm sorry.
Yes.
I just have to go to the bathroom.
Maybe turn off the recording.
I'm sorry. What do you say?
I said you can turn off the record until you get back.
I should turn off what?
Like the record, like live, I think.
I don't know how to do that.
Okay, never mind.
If I stop it, then I'll have to start a new one. I'd rather not.
Okay.
I'm just going to put it on you.
Oh, they're taking a break for Marv.
Start this program years ago.
Thank you for coming.
Every night, I would bring gourmet food, wine, matcha, everything. All the cooks, they used to bring every night. Chocolate bars, anything you can think of eating. And then they stopped doing that.
That'll
When
do
I
it.
first started the business, I thought, I'm losing weight. 2 nights a week, for 4 hours, I won't be able to eat. The first night I came, they started serving, it blew me away. You, the Buckers already came last month,
Mashiach,
so did they get an apartment yet, or?
It's on a Thursday.
Thursday, they're gonna be looking.
Who's they? Who's going?
She's going to help.
No, she's still here?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Very good.
Everybody, they can make a bracha enough before our Jesus. You want to be Chazan?
You lost your job? What's going on here?
No, it's
Is it real?
kavod. No, it's kavod. It's coming the Assyria.
So they can move, when it comes close to the street, and they can work.
You know? Baruch Hashem. Each time you need him, he is here. So it's kavod.
She's happy.
Ah.
So to the down from the.
How do you know?
He's a Jew, that's how you know.
Baruch Hashem. הוא לא יכול לחבר, נכון? ולא ישכם.
That one you didn't use.
Adonai Elohechem Emet. Amen.
Amen.
Yesterday when we were talking about.
Continue the Shir, Rabbi said, don't disappear.
Yeah.
Yes, go ahead.
Yesterday we were talking about going to a place when it's not going to Eretz Israel anymore, but going to Hilchos.
Yep.
And I have a friend who lives in Eretz Israel now, and he was going to Toronto the day after, which was still going to Hilchos. And he asked the Shaila, and he was told that the airport in Toronto is outside the throne. And therefore, even though he landed, it was still Yontif, and the rest of the area, he would be okay. Because as long as he didn't go within the home.
So he would stay outside of the, so he would stay in the airport, basically.
The others luggage and everything else.
So basically, he would stay in the airport, basically. I hear it. A person who is a Ben Eretz Yisrael, and is planning to go back, so he doesn't have to keep second day Yontif, essentially. He can't do malacha in a place that Jews are, but if it's outside of the Tchum, he's allowed to. So yeah, I guess if the airport is outside of the Tchum and he stays there, or he stays anywhere else outside the Tchum. Sounds right. Question?
I thought even in private in a closed room.
Even in private in a closed room within the Tchum. Because the nature of malacha is that it becomes known. But if you're outside the Tchum, you're outside the Tchum. Yes. Question? No. Okay. I'm sorry? Yeah, please.
The Jew in California.
Oh, yeah. The Jew in California.
5 p.m. He called a boy in Miami that's already after.
Yeah.
Giving instructions to the work on Shabbos.
You're not going to tell me to work on Shabbos.
Oh, no, it's not Shabbos for you. You're in California. It's not Shabbos for you. Can you tell him to do work while it's still not Shabbos for you, when it is already Shabbos here? You go by the place or by the... No, Schir Yom. But he's a Schir Yom for you, and for you it's not Shabbos yet. That's his question.
Or the other way around.
That you go by the person.
מותר ליהודים מארצות הברית לטלפן ביום שישי אחר הצהריים בית חולים בארץ ישראל ולדבר עם אחות מחיה. רק כל פועל גוי ולומר לו לעשות מלאכה מסוימת בשבת.
I think I've heard that before. That we go by the person and his own Shabbos, which also makes it stricter in the cases where it's not Shabbos in the place, but it is Shabbos for him. You know what I'm saying? Person who owns a company in another time zone has to keep it closed when it's Shabbos for him, even though it's non-Jews for the company. That would be the reverse side of the question. I'm pretty sure I heard that side before.
The same will apply if somebody here, Shabbos is over for him, gave instructions to somebody in California.
Yeah, same thing. Same thing. Okay,
Team of non-Jewish people in India.
one second. I'm sorry. Yes, say one more time.
If I have a team of non-Jewish people in India, I'm allowed to assign them work to do whenever for a non-Jewish company. Is that right?
Yeah, why not?
No, just checking. I was pretty sure I could.
It's a non-Jewish company, meaning to say what? You are their what? What are you to
I'm a
them?
manager.
Project manager?
I mean, sort of. I don't own the entire project, but I manage a team of about 170 Indian people, and I need to get certain things done, and part of that involves work on Shabbos.
Right.
They're not doing it for.
They're not working for you. They're working for the company.
Yes.
So I don't see why. I don't see why not.
Okay.
Just like you can tell a guy in general to do his own work on Shabbos. That's halacha and Shulchan Aruch. You can tell a guy to do his own work on Shabbos. You're passing him by in the shop, and he's taking it easy. You say, well, what are you wasting time for? Why don't you do this and that in his own work? It says clearly you're allowed to tell him. So even though you're the one who's their boss, but they're still not working for you. It would seem to me. It's an interesting shayla, which I honestly have never heard before. But it would seem to me that it's allowed. Because if it wasn't you, it would be somebody else. You're just kind of giving them guidance, but they're still not technically working for you. That's what it would seem. Okay, Rabbi Sai. We continue with Seif Beis in the Alter Rebbe. המדברים אמורים שמותר להניח לקבל נוחי לעשות בשבת שחרס מלאכה בדבר תלת מהקרקע שנוחי יכול לעשות בבייסיק. אוי במקום אחר שנשוס ישראל. ואין הדבר ניכר שמלאכת ישראל ואין חשש מעש עין. When is license given to allow a non-Jewish contractor to perform a task on Shabbos? When he performs a task on an entity that's not attached to the ground. So that the non-Jew could perform in his home or in another place that was not the domain of the Jew. Thus it would not be evident that the task belonged to the Jew, and there's no question of the impression that would be created. On the other hand, if he's working with something connected to the ground, for example, he's building your house or he's cutting your field, since the land is revealed and known to everybody, it belongs to the Jew. It's recognizable to anybody who sees that it's a Jew's work. If he's within the city, or within the tchum of the city. You're not allowed to let him do the work on Shabbos because of Marasayin. You're not allowed to tell him to do it even if he's a Kablan in his own house. That's not a Chiddush. But here the Chiddush, you're not allowed to let him. That means you didn't tell him. But it so happens that he's doing it on Shabbos, you can't let him. Stop. Sorry. Because a person who sees will think that he's a Schir for you.
I don't understand that part. What's
I'm saying to tell him not to do work, to tell him to do work on Shabbos is forbidden whether it's in your property or not, right? Even a Kablan, that's a Kablan, exactly. You can't tell the guy who's washing your suit to do it on Shabbos, even though it's not on your property. The Chiddush is, if it is on your property, even though you didn't tell him to do it on Shabbos, if he does it on Shabbos, you have to stop him. You can't let him.
Even if it's a Kablan, even if you
Kablan on your property. Kablan on your property, yes.
That's
Marasayin. That's correct. That's what we're saying.
But this only on the Badam,
That's what we're talking about. We're talking about building your house, cutting your field, cutting your grass, anything on your property.
Question is, you don't give the benefit. Obviously, you're not going to give the benefit of the doubt when it comes to certain things. But like, if you live in a religious community, and if I see somebody cutting grass in this person's lawn, and the only issue is Maras Ayin, I know for a fact that he's a Kablan, he's getting paid a lump sum.
No, you don't know for a fact. You don't know for a fact. How do you know? Maras Ayin is Maras Ayin. You don't know for a fact. Now, the truth is there is reason to say maybe it's different nowadays. Maybe every single gardener is always a Kablan. You could argue that. And some do it. The Rabbin Tam says it, that by houses, everybody's a Kablan. Okay, but that's not accepted.
Exactly.
It's not accepted in halacha. It's considered that maybe there would be some people who are not kabbanim. There might be some people who work by the hour still, even today, which I'm sure you do have. Sometimes, let's say a company, they hire the gardener, and he clocks in and he clocks out. You know what I'm saying? It's possible.
But shchita is
Sorry?
to have a kabbalah working on your home.
That's correct.
It's funny. There's a situation that during Yom Tov, they were in the process of putting the septic tank,
Right.
and they were not coming. The mamish came in doing sukkahs. This was a family friend's house, and they started just working on the back. So they didn't know what to do. They didn't stop it. I mean, I said, I think it's an issue, but it was in the back of the house. But still, they just started working on a few things for the septic tank.
Septic tank is a great need. Yeah. Listen, we have to remember that there is the opinion of a Ben Tam who says that nowadays it's all Kablanus and everybody knows it, and there is no Marasai. And we said that in a case of a shul that is not going to be built any other way, you can rely on a Ben Tam. And I even saw in the footnotes here, they bring down that the Tzemach Tzedek says maybe in some cases, even for a private house, if there's no other way to build it, maybe you can rely on a Ben Tam. So when it comes to a septic tank, which is very important, maybe there's room to rely. I'm not giving you a psak. I'm just saying there's maybe room to rely. I got a psak. I'll tell you, I got a psak about air conditioning. A guy's air conditioning unit broke. And it was right before Shabbos, and they needed a new unit. It's Melacha D'Oraisa. I mean, it's building, putting in a new unit, connecting it. Definitely Melacha D'Oraisa. But Rabbi Webman said, you can do it on Shabbos. It's Kablanus. All these companies are all Kablanus. Everybody knows it.
So all work is kabbalah.
And he wouldn't have allowed it under normal circumstances, but without AC in Miami, I mean, you're in big trouble. So he allowed it.
So according to the Rebbeinu Tams, all work. What does it say? What's the issue?
We'll see it. Question? No. Okay. Even if it's not well known to everybody that this belongs to a Jew. The neighbors still know that it's his. I got actually a very similar shayla recently. Somebody bought an apartment, hadn't moved in yet, and they wanted the goyim to do the tiles or whatever. And they said to me, how do people know it belongs to me? I never moved in. I never lived there. So people will see the goyim doing work. How will they know that it belongs to me? I asked Rabbi Heller, and I said, no, it's not true. People know. MLS, you could look it up. And anyway, when they move in, after the work is built, everybody's going to know that it belonged to you. So Lemafreya, they'll know they're working on Shabbos. So, Eli, nah, you renovate, you move it. They'll say it was a schiyam. Even if he's living amongst goyim, he has no Jewish neighbors. If he's doing the work within the tchum of that village, we're afraid that he might end up having guests for Shabbos. And they'll see the guy working in your land. And that's the payback you get for having guests. You have guests, then they go ahead and suspect you of working on Shabbos.
Flip the project shortly because it's completed by that.
I don't agree. That's what Ronnie asked me before. The whole thing here is Mar Zayin. So how does that get you out of Mar Zayin? You understand? When it's a problem of actual owning and you say, well, I don't own it, okay. But if it's the whole thing is Mar Zayin and it actually does belong to you and you're just making a trick to make it technically not belong to you, but people still associate it with you, it's still Mar Zayin.
Actually selling it.
It's kind of like a shop.
Actually physically sold, mamish
Yeah,
sold.
you sell
Okay.
it.
And then
And then you buy it back. Like
After
chametz.
you finish, you buy it back.
Like chametz.
Okay, no, but actually sold by the law of the land, not like chametz. Not like chametz. I'm saying if you sell it in the MLS, it actually belongs to the guy. Yeah.
But you make a condition that you're going to buy
I don't know about that. I don't know about that.
If he doesn't pay
it
you,
after the project.
doesn't
I don't
pay
know about
you,
that.
no fine.
I don't know about that.
It's a double contract.
I don't know about that. You should also worry about your household members. They know that the work is yours. They'll suspect that maybe the guy is your worker.
I see the maritime when it comes, I don't know if it's more strict in other places.
Yeah, that's what I'm realizing. How much is my sign?
It is very strict. The Marasani is very strict. I think it has to do with the fact that people are overly lenient with Amir Lanachari in many cases, too much. So the Chachamim were very concerned. So they went to the opposite extreme. You have to be super careful.
So basically, if it's מפרש, המראית עד going to be בתלוש ולא בתלוש also.
No, if it's talush,
That's
then
mine also.
no, because they don't know it's yours. Unless it's like a ship or something that is known to be yours, so then it's not a problem. If they're doing malacha publicly, but it's with something not connected to the ground, so how do they know it's yours? I'm saying I don't know how
You
what.
said the bricks before.
Because the bricks become connected to the ground. So
They're
that,
not in talush.
I understand, but because they become connected, the Chacham included them. But something that's completely talush, like for example, in the olden days they used to wash the clothes on the river. So they're washing the clothes in the river. Everybody sees they're washing the clothes. Okay, but it's talush. It's not connected. We're going to see later, though,
It's your clothing.
we're going to see later that the Jewish clothes that look Jewish could be a problem. The kapata. If they're washing your kapata by the river, your tzitzis, you know what I mean, your talis, that could be a problem. So, it could be an Amish neighborhood, but I don't know if the Amish live out of town. I think they only live in Allentown. I don't know if they live in Miami. It's interesting. I was sitting next to a family on the plane, Amish. So I thought I'm off the hook from doing Muftzayim, you know, I can go to sleep. They were like Amish, like to the hilt, you know, like braids and dressed with the. Turns out the husband's Jewish. Shmonel Islam.
What?
His mother converted to Mennonite. His father's not Jewish. His mother was born Jewish.
So did you do Muftzayim?
I tried, didn't get very far, but never. Anyway, so Kivin Shirei Vapamim and Adav Nidal Achim Klash Malachot Telish in the Kol Klau. So sorry. He says here, Avak Shoyse B'Davar Talush, when he's working with something disconnected to the ground. Av Shemix Yisrael Yadam Shem Lacha Yishol Yisrael. Even though some Jews know that it's your work, some people recognize your shirt there on the riverbank. Like Chacham didn't agree. Because things not connected to the ground are usually not so well known who the owner is, they didn't make a decree. Not so when it's something connected which is revealed and known. In most cases, people know about it because it becomes the talk of town. So here's the thing: because mechuber is usually public, the Chacham were much more strict about it, even in a case where it's very, very private. Like in the case where you're the only Jew in town. Who's going to find out? Your guests, your household members. What are the chances? You know what I'm saying? Nevertheless, it's connected to the ground. They included it in the problem of Maras Ayin, even though it's a very small possibility of Maras Ayin. On the other hand, when it comes to something disconnected to the ground, even if it so happens that people know that it's yours, but because generally things not connected to the ground are not well known, they didn't include it. With the exception of things that are generally well known, like a ship or something like that. But things that are usually not known, they didn't make the rule, even if in your particular case people know that it's yours.
Even if it's even a kapata, so it'd be okay. That's what you were saying.
A kapata is a question. We're going to see later. Because the kapata is Jewish owned, but it's not, but nobody knows whose exactly it is. They're going to suspect the Jew, but they don't know which Jew. You know what I'm saying? So that's the question. I'm saying, does Maris Ayin only apply when there's a suspicion towards a particular Jew? Or does it mean, no, somebody's doing an Aveira? Oh, Maris Ayin.
Yeah, but if you're watching something, you know that the Jewish government doesn't matter who it belongs to.
That's the question. That's the question. It's a question if Maris Ayin applies when they don't suspect a specific person. It could be Maris Ayin is only when they're suspecting a specific person, because it's an Aveira to suspect a specific person, and you're causing them to do that Aveira. But if they're not suspecting a specific person, maybe it's not a problem. We're going to see. Out there, we're going to discuss it.
So you know what? The Jew own a taxi, the yellow cabs. They all look the same. And you're renting it to a goy on a shift on Shabbos. You're working on Shabbos, it's a shift. All the cops look the same. Most of them not going to be the same type of car. You know? So it's going to be money high.
I don't think so. I don't think so. I mean, that's an example of something talosh, right? It could be some people will recognize it. Maybe some people know his license plate number. You know what I'm saying? They know that it's banged up on the left side or whatever. Some people, but most people don't know. So generally, they didn't make the gzeira by a davar talosh. This is all if the work is being done in the city or within the boundary of the city, close enough for people to walk there for Shabbos. This is number 3. But if they're doing the work outside of the tchum, and there is no Jew living within the tchum, you're allowed to let him work on Shabbos. You can't tell him to, like we've said, of course. But we're in Gimel, just finished Gimel. But you don't have to stop. Also, this is what we said before in the Machaber. Even something not connected to the ground, if it's well known to the public that it belongs to the Jew, and it's being done in a public place, this is what Shmuel was saying before. If the ship is being built inside a shipyard with closed walls, it's no problem. It's only if it's being built in a public place and it's known to the public that it belongs to you, then it's a problem. For example, building a ship on the riverbank, which is a public place, then you can't let them because of Marsai. Yes.
From here to Bel Abu, crossing the bridge.
There is no way to get to Bal Harbor from here without crossing the Tchum.
You're going to go on
Biscayne?
Biscayne
No, because then you have to cross the
Yeah,
bridge.
cross the bridge,
There's 3
yeah.
bridges that you.
The only bridge you're allowed to cross is the William Lehman, because I believe the Eruv extends across the William Lehman. But when you get to the south tip of Sunny Isles, you can't cross Hollover. Hollover is a problem. Until they build an Eruv that includes Hollover Park,
So
there's
you
no
can't
way.
cross the bridge?
No, there's no way you can get from here to there, or vice versa on Shabbos. Yantiv also not. Tchum applies to Yantiv too. Miftzayim, you have to keep Shabbos and Yantiv too, even if you're going Miftzayim.
The issue is.
Well, as far as I know, the only bridge you can cross is William Lehman, but then you can go into Sunny Isles, but you can't cross over to Bahar.
The issue is going out of an air.
Out of the Tchum. No, that Eruv can connect and make it be within the Tchum, because it's a walled city. It's like a wall, so it becomes like an extension of the city.
Even though there's natural resources that could be considered as a part of the air as well.
It has to be an Eruv, natural or not, it has to be an Eruv.
I'm talking about on 167, the bridge, not the ones that 107 need to go just before Bel Abu, the small bridge.
You're talking about the 163rd Street Bridge?
Yeah.
I don't think that's allowed. I don't think so. I'm not 100% sure about that. I'm talking about to get to Bal Harbor. That's to Sunny Isles. Between Miami Shores and Sunny Isles,
The bridge on 100.
63rd. I don't think so, but maybe. I don't know. I never looked into that. I'm not sure. Afilu melechas talosh. For some as we do the rabbin. Shishol Yisrael, we said that already. Okay, let's go for a little bit further. I know it's late. Avadorish and Shemishan Nicola Rakshos for Hesig with person. There was a Nasa Shabbos Yisrael. Going to start Sachlan Nachim, but Kablanus last like Kilim Chadash and was some Shabbos for Hestia. Shav Shis, Sagan Saslam, Trace of Shalisam, Kamakam, and the Kishmaya Lay, and List the Kram Kilim Shaplani. Came Chadan the Bowl of Shusam Oilam, the Fikaf Trace of Makalim first and South Mukas Beyond Make Radin, come back to the Achim Mukas, Yada Lachaskin and Shola, Shalin Racha, Lambert, and Nachwais, and Lacham Shabbos Lachose. Okay, Sevav. Also, Lassa, we're just going straight through. That's, I don't know. You can read the English on your own. Afilas is betalish with the tzech mochuber. You can lift salah. One of the second occurs. Kidel shakam bebinyan. Tzech limchas biyade. Im betchum besechet tchum. Afilo is rach me bebinyan. Afilo is a basic shein adaber nicker. Sheis v'shvil binyan. Zeh shal yisrael mukavakam kimish seven shakam bebinyan or adinim bebinyan asma. We said this before in the mechaber. Even if they're working with something not connected to the ground. For example, they're cutting the stones. They're fixing the beams. In order to put them into the building, you have to stop them if it's within the tchum. Even if they're working far from your building site, even in their own house, that it's not clear, nevertheless, because in the end, they're going to put them in, it's considered part of that. Zayin, if you didn't stop him and he did it on Shabbos b'Kablanus, you can allow him to put it in. And here is the Chiddush. The house was built b'Kablanus. You can allow a Jew to enter it. This is not like the Mechaber. Because some people allow Kablanus Nachri even for Mechuber, this Rabbeinu Tam. You can rely on him b'diyevet. Aval Nachri. But a Nachri that is a day worker that built it on Shabbos, it is proper to be strict that a Jewish person should not enter it ever, not only to live, but to enter, shouldn't go in. It's raining. Sorry, you can't take shelter there. Even if you told him not to work on Shabbos, and he did it anyway. If he did it for your sake, and he's a day worker again, it's proper that you shouldn't enter it ever. But if he's a day worker and he did it for himself, because he wanted to be paid, again, and you told him not to, you're allowed to live there because you told him not to do it on Shabbos.
If he wants to switch, instead of doing his melach on Sunday, particularly like whatever I'm supposed to do on Sunday, I'm going to do on Shabbos. Because I want to have Sunday off. Because you're supposed to post 6 days.
On your property? What's the difference? Why? It's on your property, you can't let him, no matter what his reason is. Let's do one more sif. In some places, they hire workers to take away the garbage. And the goyim do it on their own. You don't tell them to do it, but they do it whenever they want. And they do it even on Shabbos, and they're doing it on your property. They have to go into your property to take out the garbage. No eruv. We're not worried about Maris Ayin. Why not? Or the people, the minhag is not to worry about Maris Ayin. Of course, but what about Maris Ayin? He says, the matter has already become public that people hire goyim as contractors, to remove the zevel, and they're not paid by the hour. Like we see there, whatever becomes public is no marzayin. This is the same concept of Benatam. I don't think it's Benatam who actually says this. It's the Magen Avraham, but it's the same concept. Based on this, you can allow Goyim to build a shul on Shabbos. If the normal thing is to build buildings through contractors, not by workers, like it is in most places. This heter is only if, I'm just realizing, this heter does not apply today. This heter is only if the actual workers are kablanim, the actual bricklayers, the actual electricians, the actual guys working on the building site are kablanim. But not that just that the general contractor is a kablan and he hires day workers. Because that's a much more serious marasai. Because the fact is they are schiriyim, so whether they realize that the schiriyim for you or for the contractor, that's already a fine line. It's talking about a place where the workers themselves are kablan.
They don't get paid by you, they get paid by the.
Okay, but it's a closer marasai. Because once there's schiriyim,
But in our town, we all know them.
okay, but nevertheless, because there's a schiriyim component, it's not 100% clear who's paying the schiriyim.
How's that a loophole then?
It's not a loophole nowadays.
Yeah.
I'm just realizing this is not a loophole nowadays. Even that you should only allow b'shas al-chak. Maybe the goyim are going to stop you from allowing you to build the field at all, the shul at all. If it's not a necessary case, you shouldn't allow it because the chil Hashem b'nei eyes of the goyim. They don't let anybody do work in public on their holiday, so to speak, on Sunday, the day they consider it Hashem's day. And we're allowing it. So it's a chil Hashem. You should not allow it unless it's necessary. Whereas cleaning the streets, like we said in the beginning, is not associated with the Jews so much. So much. Therefore, they allow that. Better not even to allow that. But at the very least, when it comes to building a shul or anything else connected to the ground, he says you shouldn't allow it unless it's mamish necessary. Otherwise, it's not going to happen. And even then, only if it's customary and the actual workers themselves are kablanim, not if they are paid by the hour or by the day.
You hire a company to come and build you a tent on Friday for having a party on Shabbos.
Yeah.
There was one delayed, and they arrived already Shabbos.
Yeah.
They allowed to build a tent. Put it up.
They got paid to do a job.
Based on everything we're saying, you have to stop them. Based on everything we're saying. When they're doing the work on Shabbos, that's what I'm saying. The fact that it's their fault, not yours, it doesn't take away from the Marzayim. I want to read David's question. If a Jew has a business, for example, that designs websites, and he has contractors such as web designers, programmers, in the Philippines, India, Vietnam, doesn't he have to tell the people not to do work on his projects during Shabbos? What's the answer?
If you do it any other time.
Exactly. As long as you don't tell them to do it on Shabbos, you don't have to stop them from doing it on Shabbos because they're working on their own office, on their own computer. They're not working in your property, and you didn't tell them to do it on Shabbos, so you don't have to stop them. There's no more sign, for sure not.
What if you tell them it's Friday when they say, when do you need this by? We'll say Monday.
Monday's okay because they can work on Sunday.
But they decide to do work on Shabbos.
That's up to them. That's up to them. They don't have to do it on Shabbos. As long as there's enough time, it's not on Shabbos, even if it means working through the night, Matzah Shabbos, whatever. As long as you're not forcing them to do it on Shabbos, it's okay.
You tell them Sunday?
Only if there's enough time to do it on Matzah Shabbos. If it's a project that takes too much time and you're causing them definitely to do it on Shabbos, then you cannot.
So what about I wanted to ask you yesterday?
Mm-hmm.
The truck driver delivery from New York.
Mm-hmm.
They're picking up on Friday, from all the kosher, places in New York, and they drive to Shabbos to bring it up here Sunday morning. Physically,
There's no way they can
There's
get
no
here
way.
without driving through Shabbos.
without driving to Shabbos to make it.
And they're paid by the job or by the hour, or how does it work?
Company, probably.
It's a thing by a pallet. You pick up 2 pallets, they get paid for 2 pallets. It's not whatever store, whatever.
And you didn't tell them to do it on Shabbos.
No, but there's no way they're gonna get
They're
here.
picking up on
But did you tell them that you needed here on Sunday morning, or you just told them bring it whenever you bring
You
it?
told them Monday. You told
Okay.
me
No,
need
it's
it
not
Monday.
problem. Usually what is the schedule.
If you didn't tell them, it's
You
okay.
already tell them on Wednesday or Thursday, pick up from.
Okay, but as long as you didn't tell them that you need it on Sunday morning.
No.
If you tell them, I need it by Monday morning, that's
It's
okay.
theoretical
Even
because
though
it's
you
right for
know
denying
they're
it.
gonna do it on Sunday, and they're gonna do it on Shabbos and bring it on Sunday, that's up to
You
them.
don't tell him directly, but he knows that this is what's happened.
That's okay, as long as you
Because
don't
he's
tell them.
saying they could.
You don't tell them, they're a Kablan and they're not on your property. It's okay.
There's no more sign.
The only issue is if you tell them that you need it Sunday morning, and the only way they can do it is on Shabbos, then it's a problem. It's the same thing with the UPS. You tell the UPS, I need it there by Monday. The fact is,
They're picking it up.
they're picking it up, and you could even look online. They'll tell you where it is exactly, and you see that it's moving, and on Shabbos it's moving. Doesn't make a difference. As long as they could do it on other times, it's okay.
Put a letter. So you know it's gonna be picked up.
So if there is an Eruv in the place, I believe you can. If there's an Eruv, because he's not doing any work for you. He's putting it from your mailbox into his bag. There's no malacha there. There's no. He's putting it into his thing. That's all in the Eruv. And then once it goes anywhere else, you're not telling him to do it on Shabbos. It's in his bag. You could.
No more sign issue putting up the flag.
I don't think. Well, what do they think you're telling him to do? I mean, what's the sign? That what? That what are you doing wrong? I don't think there's anything wrong.
You actually.
I don't think so.
I mean, you're putting it there, but it's like.
You're asking him to be taken on Shabbos.
Like you come before.
He could come Friday afternoon.
No, he's already come.
Shabbos.
He's already come on Friday afternoon. He's gone. You know he's not coming till Shabbos. But I don't see him doing any malacha. I don't see him doing any malacha. I think it's okay. My opinion. If anybody disagrees,
I'm just saying,
please let me know.
what he's basically saying is, you know for a fact it's gonna be picked up on Shabbos.
But what malacha is he doing? You can't tell a guy to do work for you on Shabbos. What work is he doing? If you define work as 39 malachas, right? What work is he doing? He's not carrying, there's an error. Now, the truth is that he's going to get back to the place, maybe in the place. I'm sorry? No. If there's no Eruv and he's a guy, you're telling him, by leaving it there and putting up the thing, you're telling him, hey, take my thing, carry it from me. It doesn't make a difference. You're telling him, you're not saying it verbally. When you put up that thing.
We just learned yesterday, it's like you didn't say yes verbally.
No,
Right,
that's
he's
like.
definitely taking it out of the A-room.
Even if you don't
The
say
mail
anything.
facilities are not inside of it.
Yeah, but that you didn't tell him to do. That you didn't tell him to do. That you didn't tell him to do. That's
You
his
know
choice.
that he's
That's
gonna
his
drive
choice.
it. Yeah, he's gonna-
That's his choice. That's his choice. If he chooses to take it out of the air on Shabbos or on Sunday or on Monday, as long as it gets to the place within 3 days or whatever acceptable first class mail is. The details of how he gets it there, as long as you don't tell him to do it on Shabbos, is okay. What you were saying about Baramiza is when you do something in a way that he figures it out on his own.
If you figure out, I have a flag, I have to pick up something from this. It's like, there's no issue to put the flag on.
No, definitely not. Definitely not. This is not an Amira problem. It's not an Amira problem. It's a Shlichus problem. You're by putting it there, and you know that he's going to take it, and
But
that's part of his
he can't
job.
deliver anyway something.
Maybe he doesn't have anything for you.
No, that doesn't make a difference. He's coming to deliver anyway. He's a shliach of the guy who sent it.
Yeah.
And that guy didn't send him to do it on Shabbos Dafka, even if it was a Jew. He sent it whenever. You understand? But when you put it there, and his job is to take it, you are, in other words, telling him to take it on Shabbos. You are telling him to take it on Shabbos. He's like your shaliach to take it on Shabbos.
I understand what you're saying, but it's hard to me to accept it right now. Just in my opinion, like.
I once had Svarim that arrived on Shabbos.
And
No, I'm just saying, I ordered them from New York, you put them into regular ground, whatever. It's a big box of Svarim.
I was beyond it. I saw stuff from Eichler's company.
Yeah. My son ordered it. Yes, we have a marble, which- Did he say leave it
Bring it
outside,
in,
or
but
is
don't bring it in more than $1.
What? There we go.
My son ordered some spark, you know, 2 months ago.
Oh,
So the boxes came on Shabbos.
Yeah, that happens to me.
And, you know, we didn't want to leave it outside, so someone would take it, we're all chill or ready, right? So he asked Rabbi Merlin. Rabbi Merlin said, bring it in, but only
Right at the.
right into the entryway.
Right, that's what I.
No more than
you
$1.
can send the UPS guy to put it there also.
We're there, yeah, you can, if we're home.
okay, we'll stop here and continue tomorrow, Mr. Shem. I mean, next week, Mr. Shem.
So, yeah.